At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Feminist-In-Chief.
And I am Anthony C. the host of the Hour of Politics, and welcome to yet another edition of our program. Do us that usual favor. Share the broadcast with your contact. We will surely and definitely appreciate that. Another edition, and you are welcome to this one that you might actually like. The topic, as always, political on the Hour of Politics. Feminist-in-Chief or Feminist-In-Cheat. That is our topic for today. Folks, that is the topic for today. And I want to welcome you to this edition of the Hour of Politics. Our president, George Manawia, prior himself as a feminist in chief, and we have been paying attention to this self-proclaimed title of President Weah, and we are trying to see whether or not he is a living example of this self-proclaimed title, Feminist-In-Chief. But we are also asking a question in our topic. Is he actually a feminist-in-chief, or is he a feminist-in-cheat? I know what you're thinking. Some of you are thinking completely out of the box. I get that. But to set the basis for the discussion, the word cheat is teasing. Some of you, and many of you, can relate to it. We all can relate to it. We all know what cheating is. But for the sake of this presentation, we are using cheat in a different context. We are not taking away whatever context you believe you want to apply to this discussion. Because you are part of the discussion, you can so do. But for this presentation, we are looking at cheat in a whole different concept here. All right? The word cheat means to act dishonestly and unfairly, or a person who behaves dishonestly. That person is a cheat. And the word cheat is an act in which one behaves unfairly and dishonestly about anything in any situation. It can go, we can also define it further by saying, when one says, this is what they are for, and this is what they believe they will do for a group of people, that is a promise to do something. That is a promise to fulfill, to meet the needs of people. And if that person is not fairly doing that, if that person is going completely different route from what they have communicated to a group of people or to anybody, then that is dishonesty, and it can also be referred to as cheating the people of that which that person has promised to do but chose to do something else. And whatever definition you might be thinking of cheat is yours also to apply it to the discussion, but that is the context we are using. So having laid the basis for the discussion, I go back to the topic to get the discussion started. Again, to this topic, feminist-in-chief or feminist-in-cheat. Is he cheating the women of Liberia on the promises made as feminist-in-chief? Well, we cannot discuss this in the absence of this subject correct. It is so serious, and that is one of the things that the feminist-in-chief has pronounced over and over, that he will be able to deliver on in trying to protect our women and girls in Liberia, and also trying to take the fight to rapists in our country and those who are in the constant habit of not only molesting our girls, but also abusing our girls and women and going as far as perpetrating violence against their body. This president of ours, George Manawia, some people call him the doctor. I don't know why. Maybe he got an honorary doctorate degree. I understand 3 of them. So Dr. Weah, the feminist-in-chief, the self-proclaimed feminist-in-chief, we are here to examine this title, whether or not he has been up to the task. So folks, as feminist-in-chief, what has President Weah said he will do to fulfill that title, to live that title, to act on the words and the promises that he has uttered as feminist-in-chief when it comes to our women and girls in Liberia? We talk about this gender equality, equal participation, protection of women, sexual and gender-based violence. All of these things are key. And look, we are all here as humans today because of the word woman, or the person woman, or woman in general. I am a son of a woman. My father could do anything, but my name is a woman. I will not be here today. And so this is a subject that we can all relate to. And so that said, President Weah, the self-proclaimed feminist-in-chief, because he gave himself that title, I can tell you for a fact. In 2000, President Weah declared rape as a national emergency in Liberia because rape cases were all over the place. Girls were being raped. It was like rape was taking place nearly every day or every week. There were cases being reported, down to ages like 14 and 15 and 10. We've heard stories of rapes taking place nearly everywhere. Even at the police headquarters, women are being raped by police officers, and many of those cases are out of swept under the rug. And so it became like an epidemic in our country. And so the self-proclaimed feminist-in-chief decided to declare rape as a national emergency in Liberia, and he did that in 2020. So after that, President Weah, we know that declaration of the emergency was after when thousands of Liberians protested in black t-shirts, and many of you may not remember, some of you may, women of Liberia, including men, protested in Liberia because the rape thing was on the increase. It was rampant. People were just, in complete distress, and they were like, why is this happening? And they wanted, something to be done about the issue of rape in Liberia. So they came together and they protested. They wore black t-shirts. Thousands of people protested. During that particular protest, the feminist-in-chief did not show up. The women went there. They wanted to give the president a petition. They were expecting their leader, the feminist-in-chief, to come and take their petition, but President Weah did not show up. Politics guy, in a way, they have classified the protest as a protest against the government from forces within the opposition. So the president did not show us to a fellow citizens who were appalled by the rampant reports of rape cases that were being swept under the rug, and many of the perpetrators were just getting away with it, or they will not be held accountable, given the gravity of the crimes that they have committed. And so that protest took place, and it was following that President Weah said he has declared rape as a national emergency in Liberia. Now, President Weah also promised that he will appoint and install a special prosecutor for rape, as well as set up a national sex offender registry. So these are things the president have promised, and he also launched a roadmap The roadmap was steps to be taken, and they were time bound, and these things were to be accomplished at a particular time, of the year or period in our lifetime, so that the issue of rape will either be minimized, and others who are in a constant habit of raping our women and girls will be held accountable. So that roadmap was launched. There was a task force also set up. The president set up a task force that was made out of or comprising of people from civil society, ministries, and agency, and that task force was also put into place. Despite all of these things that the president has put into place in the fight against rape, sexual and gender-based violence, we know for a fact that these things continue to happen. And the obvious reason these things continue to happen, especially in high places where most of the time they are swept under the rug, is more so because the feminist-in-chief, President Weah, has been cheating the Liberian people when it comes to fulfilling the promises that he made, to the country, and more so to the women and girls of Liberia. He has cheated them, on these promises, these things that he promised he would do. What he made the announcement, he said that the task force, I don't know whether the special prosecutor was installed or appointed, and they also said that that special prosecutor was going to be responsible to fast track all rape cases in Liberia. But we all know that all of these things have been completely serviced, and the president has been so much of a cheat when it comes to the promises made to the Liberian people. And the very president we are, the task force, we don't know whether that task force is working. This might be a task force that is dead. It was just a pronouncement. It was late service. It was complete deceit, because we have not seen serious action being taken against officials of government who are accused of rape. And again, I will emphasize, many of these cases have been swept under the rug. And I'll be bringing some specific cases to you, so that you know what we're talking about. Now, in continuation of this main pronouncement, President Weah, at his recent speech at the United Nations 77th, General Assembly, President Weah said his government, according to him, working assiduously. He used a big word. He went satya there, that they are working assiduously through legislation to stop harmful practices against women in Liberia. We hope to see that. I mean, they had the emergency launch, declare rape as a national emergency. We have not seen any substantial fight, yes, against perpetrators of rape. They announced a tax, so we have not seen any significant fight efforts on the part of the government against this behavior. The sex offender registry, we don't know how much cases they are documenting and what is actually doing. And also, all of these pronouncements, it's obvious that these pronouncements are just lip service, and we can only hope that the president will man up and be able to enforce all of these measures that he has announced, or his government has announced, so that the issue of rape can be continued. I know this is a difficult subject for many of you, myself included, because for some of us, like me, for example, I have about 6 sisters. I'm not 6, but 8 sisters. All right, about 8 sisters that I have in my life, and I have a mother too. So, and I have a daughter too, and many of you do. And so, to see that girls, babies, some of them in diapers, have been raped in the country, and you don't see the rightful, indignation from the president, other than these announcements, especially people who he has the power to appoint and to fire, are engaged or accused of being involved in this crime. And yet, he drags his feet. And now all we hear is just pronouncement, and feminist-in-chief title, and that is all that we hear. So let's come to some specifics, folks. Let's come to some specifics here. For example, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, D. Maxwell Kimanya. Minister Kimanya is now our Minister of Foreign Affairs. Before being appointed as Minister of Foreign Affairs, he was Liberia Permanent Representative to the United Nations. When he was serving at the UN's mission for Liberia, that was when he was accused by one of his staff that he, Kimanya, then an ambassador to the United Nations for Liberia, have carried on the alleged act of rape against one of his staff. That allegation against him led to Minister Kimanya, now Mr. Kimanya, going to Liberia, and then he was also appointed by President Weah. As we speak, that case is pending here in the United States. But President Weah, the Feminist-In-Chief, the woman who accused Kimanya, wrote a letter in which she documented her ordeal. They are allegedly carried on by Minister Kimanya. And yet President Weah did not hesitate to appoint this accused diplomat as his Minister of Foreign Affairs to be the face of our country. What kind of feminist-in-chief who appoints somebody who is being accused of significant act of rape, while that person served as an ambassador for Liberia? That person was the face of our country. At the United Nations, he was being accused of rape, and yet President Weah, instead of taking action against this man or pursuing an investigation that will come to a logical conclusion to establish whether or not this man actually did the act, Kimanya only denied, and that was enough for the Feminist-In-Chief, and he reappointed this man to be our Minister of Foreign Affairs, a position that he serves today. Is he actually a Feminist-In-Chief? So what kind of chief whose daughter is crying of an abuse by a powerful man in a position of trust, and yet the chief does not have any interest to get to the bottom of such a grave allegation against somebody he has the power to appoint and to fire? Today, as we speak, this case is pending against this minister of government, our foreign minister, and yet this man travels with President Weah nearly everywhere. He has been going with President Weah on ceremonies or occasions in Liberia. He has traveled with President Weah in the sub-region, and of recent at the United Nations General Assembly that they attended, he came with President Weah. Why the allegation is still pending against him and is yet to come to a logical conclusion? The Feminist-In-Chief does not care. Now, to make matter worse, the Liberian embassy in Abuja, there was a reported rape there at that embassy. A gentleman called Nathaniel BJ. All right. Nathaniel BJ actually has been serving at the Liberian embassy in Nigeria. His daughter, a young girl, was reportedly raped by the son of one of the diplomats there at the Liberian embassy in Nigeria. Nathaniel has taken the matter to the attention of the embassy there in Nigeria. He did everything for his daughter to be given medical care, because the little girl was molested by the son of one of the diplomats at the embassy in Nigeria. Everything he did to call the attention of the diplomats there at the Liberian embassy in Nigeria did not go well. His daughter could not get the attention that he needed. When he was frustrated about the issue, he went to Liberia and informed now Minister of Foreign Affairs, D. Maxwell Kimanya. Kimanya did not do anything about this case that was brought to attention, that that little child was raped by one of the ambassador there's son. When he got frustrated that D. Maxwell Kimanya, the foreign minister, could not do anything, he went to the vice president of Liberia, Joel Howard Taylor. Joel Howard Taylor, according to the guy, could not do anything. So he did everything to get President Weah attention, and it was difficult. When he could not succeed in getting the attention of this government, of this president, he went to the media. Some of you might remember. He was on Focus on Liberia. He explained his ordeal. He was on many other media platforms, including Spoon Network and many other radio stations in Liberia. He was everywhere. I don't know what has happened. How can a feminist-in-chief hear about a little girl being molested, and yet the father, who is like a victim of what happened, have to go all around calling his own government attention because the government will not listen to him? He has to come crying to the public for help. This young man even went as far as raising money from citizens to provide medical care for his daughter. So I beg the question again. Do we have a feminist-in-chief who does nothing, who will aid and abet indirectly officials of government who are accused of corruption? I mean, not corruption, but rape in the case of the foreign affairs minister. So, folks, I don't know if we have a feminist-in-chief or we actually have a feminist-in-cheat. Now, as though that is not enough, of recent, two diplomats working for the Liberian Maritime Authority were attending a program in South Korea representing Liberia. When those folks went there, for some reason, they decided that they were going to have some fun. The issue is very, very serious, folks. This issue is very, very serious. So, Moses Owen Brown is Liberia's permanent representative to the International Maritime Organization, the IMO, and Daniel Tai is the director of the Department of Marine Environmental Protection. These are two officials of the Liberian government, the Liberian Maritime Authority, and they went representing Liberia, at this program in South Korea. The story goes that while they were there, they have decided to have some good time. And some way, somehow, they managed to get two young girls into their hotel. These were diplomats on a diplomatic mission representing Liberia. And they felt the need to do something else. So how did the girls get into the hotel with them? Now, there are so many reports out there that the girls were in their 20s. Some reports said they were teens, they were in 16, around there. But actually, they called the girls to their hotel because those girls could not have entered their hotel room without their permission. Now, according to Brown, somebody else called the police on them. And that the girls themselves did not call the police, but someone who knows the girls called the police on them. In the video that we watched, the police were seen banging at the door. At long last, they opened the door and the police entered, and the police went and effected an arrest. Those two Liberian diplomats working for the Liberian Maritime Authority assigned IMO, the International Maritime Organization. They are now in jail in South Korea because while they were representing Liberia, they decided to do what no one would expect of a diplomat on a diplomatic mission, to engage in any such behavior. And they were claiming diplomatic immunity, that they should not be arrested, more so because they were diplomats, and as diplomats and adults, they had the right, to have some good time. But that good time did not go well for them. The main thing here is that whether or not these diplomats as adults had the right to do what they did, it backfired on them, and it has brought the image of the country to an international disrepute internationally. And now, in the words of Len Eugene Namwe, who is the head of the Liberian Maritime Authority, Eugene Namwe on Wednesday, September the 28th, he said that this is a disgrace and that the Liberian government, reputation or image is being damaged because, folks in the IMO cycle and some ships owners are concerned that Liberia, one of the countries that is privileged to have so many ships flying its flag, and those representing Liberia at the International Maritime Organization are now engaged into this behavior and are now being accused of rape. Again, folks, what is being done, what we heard and that we know is the head of the Liberian Maritime Authority, Eugene Namwe, just mentioned about zero tolerance, against rape and sexual-based violence. We heard from the Minister of Gender and Social Protection, Wilhelmina Piso-Sedita, condemning the action, condemning the report. And this guy did not deny that they were in a hotel with the young girls. Whether those girls were at an adult age to be engaged in such behavior is another thing. And the fact is that whatever the case was, whether those girls were, grown girls enough to be engaged in such acts, the fact that it has backfired, it does not take away the disgrace it has brought to our country and that our country image has been damaged. Now, what the government does, what the Feminist-In-Chief does now is what that might be able to help to save the image of the country as we speak. And now they are in jail. The Liberian government is negotiating. We have not heard of any suspension. I mean, up to press time, maybe I miss it. We have not heard of any, suspension. We have not heard from the president when it comes to this issue. Has the president spoken directly through an official of government? We heard from the Minister of Information. They just condemn it, and that's the condemnation they are coming with. Is condemnation significant here? Can we get more than condemnation here? Because it's obvious that those guys made a decision to invite young girls into their hotel to enjoy themselves while serving as diplomats, But according to Moses, he feel that, this was an act of racism, and that, folks who don't like black people might have called the police on them because they have seen he and his colleague, black people, trying to have fun time in a hotel with some Asian girls. And somebody did not like the idea. Why would these black guys come here and want to enjoy themselves, right? And so according to him, it might be an act of racism on the part of somebody who really did not like the idea that they are black men, will be in South Korea, and they will be having such a privilege and an opportunity to enjoy themselves in such manner to, quote unquote, Asian girls. And that's one of the things he said. He said this is an act of racism. He is not denying the fact that those girls were in the hotel, and he is not taking away the fact that this is a disgrace for the country and this is an embarrassment to his character. And so, folks, with this, so let's put it this way. Let's say a rape was not committed as being alleged. And if we should take Moses saying that this was, an act of racism, does it mean that they were being unfairly treated here? And that they were adored, so it is their right to do what they have to do, and so the president should not take any decision, and the president should care less whether this is an international embarrassment, and that they are diplomats, and this is connected to the image of the country. Nothing should be done about it. The president should go on with his usual behavior of letting it slide and sweeping it under the rug, because we don't know how the case that was reported at the embassy in Abuja ended. We don't know whether or not the father of that child, that boy who raped Nathaniel's daughter, whether that particular diplomat was held accountable in any shape and form. We don't know. We do not know. Now, in the case of our current foreign minister, President Weah refused deliberately to not hold him accountable as a feminist-in-chief. He maintains this man. Why would President Weah do that? And now he went to the United Nations General Assembly, at the very United Nations where the Kimanyan guy was working, and he was accused. He told him there, the feminist-in-chief does not care about his reputation, does not care about the image of the country, does not care about the women and girls of Liberia, that when a woman alarms or reports or alleges about an act of rape against them, the president does not care, more so when it is done by somebody who works for his government. The case of the Maswa Kamanya is a slap in the face of Liberian women and girls. This man, the allegation against him remains serious, and yes, President Weah goes with him just about everywhere. What is President Weah communicating? That he is a feminist in chief, or is he actually communicating the opposite, that he is a feminist in cheat, cheating the women of Liberia, breaking his promises, and that all of the announcement has been made or pronouncement has been made as efforts on the part of the government in fighting the issue of sexual and gender-based violence, especially rape? They are all lip-service and complete deceit, and he is just cheating our people, our women, our girls on the promises that he made to them. What is responsible for this behavior on the part of the president? Why would somebody in the positions of power abuse their power, all right, and want to take advantage of a female, a young woman, and then President Weah maintains that person? And now he's claiming that he is the feminist-in-chief. Is he actually the feminist-in-chief, or is he actually a feminist-in-cheat? And talking about cheating, I will leave that one with you. I will leave that one with you for you to talk about it as well. And so, folks, it's obvious that the title President we are carries, that he is a feminist in chief, is a lip service, and President Weah is not up to the task. President Weah is not up to the task. He is not a good example of being a feminist in chief. I think if he is anything, it's obvious he is a feminist in cheat and not a feminist in chief, because there are more good examples to show that President Weah is a feminist in cheat, because there are practical examples, circumstantial evidence to prove that he is a feminist in cheat. And there are not good examples whatsoever based on what we've looked at. Even his pronouncements and efforts on the part of the government, those pronouncements have been completely lip service. Let's look at the pronouncement of appointing and installing a chief prosecutor for sexual and gender-based violence, specifically on rape. Do we have that special prosecutor? Are rape cases in Liberia being fast-tracked? Are people in power, government officials accused of rape, are they going to the court to face the special prosecutor? Are they? Now, talking about Moses, there was an allegation against him that there was a young girl, this was reported actually, living with him, and he was being accused of being involved into, rape with this girl. Report had it, when people were trying to pursue this case, he changed his destination and that he had moved from where he was living when this act was alleged, that this act has allegedly taken place. He had moved to a different location. In no time, President Weah appointed him while this allegation of rape was against this Moses guy, who is Liberia permanent representative to the International Maritime Organization. So a man was accused of rape. That case was not investigated. That case did not come to a logical conclusion. The feminist in chief did not care whether that man was accused of rape. He appointed him anyway. It is this very man now who is being accused of rape again, this time around in a foreign country, while he serves as a diplomat, while he serves as Liberia permanent representative to the International Maritime Organization. If President Weah has acted as the feminist-in-chief he's supposed to be, a feminist-in-chief who have gotten to the bottom of such grave allegation against this person before appointing him, so as to avoid this person bringing disgrace to the nation. But because he did not behave as a feminist-in-chief, he behaved as a feminist-in-cheat, this man was appointed, and this man now is being accused again of engaging in the act of rape, this time in a foreign country. If President Weah were a feminist-in-chief, he would have avoided the nation this embarrassment. He would have avoided this nation this disgrace that has been brought on the image of our country. Folks in the diplomatic cycle, folks in the ranks and file of the International Maritime Organization, ships that are flying Liberian flag are now concerned that the individual representing Liberia is now misbehaving or being accused of some sexual misconduct in a foreign country. As grave as this allegation remains, The president is yet to relieve this man of these guys of their position while they investigate. Somebody might think these guys should be relieved of their position and an investigation should be conducted to get to the bottom. They are not denying it. They are not denying it. They are only giving excuses. Whether or not they carry on rape is another thing. But the fact that while representing Liberia, the two men told two young girls to their hotel to enjoy themselves, and then it backfired against them, dragging the name of the nation and this image in the mud. It should become the responsibility of a feminist-in-chief to act boldly and swiftly. But again, as he always done, not as feminist-in-chief, but as feminist-in-cheat, he does nothing. And all we hear is just man condemnation coming from his minister of gender. And what can she do? She does not have the power to fire, right? The person who has that power is the president. He's mute. He's mute. Another condemnation also coming from the Minister of Information. He does not have the power to fire. And so he does the obvious. And more so, the the Commissioner of Liberia Maritime Authority, he too does not have the power to fire, to suspend. The one who does is the so-called feminist-in-chief, but he will not be a feminist-in-chief. He remains a feminist-in-cheat, cheating the people of Liberia serious accountability and truthfulness to the matter. All the pronouncement he made to the world body, to the whole world, that his government has done so much and is doing so much when it comes to gender equality, that when it comes to sexual and gender-based violence, especially rape, that his government is on it. This is an example for him to prove himself. And he's nowhere to be seen as the feminist-in-chief, but he is visible, he is known, and he is active as the feminist-in-cheat. So, folks, Liberia has been lied to have a feminist-in-chief. And I want to report to you, based on what we know, we have a feminist-in-cheat who is cheating us on the facts, who is cheating us on the truthfulness of the matter, who is cheating us when it comes to serious business of taking action and taking the fight to the perpetrators. He is cheating us when it comes to holding perpetrators accountable, especially those he has absolute and precedential power over. He has the gavel in his hand to dismiss, to suspend, and to investigate and get to the facts, and act boldly to protect the women of Liberia, especially those who are victims of this behavior of rape. If the president has been feminist-in-chief, he will be taking bold and swift actions that will serve as deterrence to all the folks in power, and they will stop misbehaving in this manner. These people have been nothing but an embarrassment to us, and these things continue to happen, especially for those in positions of power, more so because the president who claims to be the feminist-in-chief is not the feminist-in-chief. He has been more so of a feminist-in-cheat. You can make all the pronouncement that you want. Sex offender registry, whether it's a toothless bulldog we are yet, it's obvious it might be. He said he's going to announce appoint a prosecutor to fast track rape cases. We don't know whether he has done that. If he did, we don't know what kind of cases that's been fast tracked, or and it's just rape as a national emergency. This is an emergency that he announced, and people, including the foreign minister, are involved or accused of being involved in this act, and he does nothing but he perambulates with that minister of foreign affairs who has a serious and significant allegation of rape against him. He does not only travel with him in Liberia, he traveled with him in the sub-region, and he goes with this guy at the very United Nations where he was serving when he got accused of carrying on a significant act of rape. And the young woman who wrote that letter, who complained about her ordeal, is yet to get justice, and the president claims he is a feminist-in-chief. What kind of feminist-in-chief does business like that if he is not a feminist-in-cheat? Well, folks, I can't say much. And I cannot say much. I will take a short break. When we come back, we will hear from you. You need to have your say. Is our president a feminist-in-chief, or is he actually a feminist-in-cheat? Which one? A cheat or a chief for women? That is the question I want you to answer. The phone line will be open in no time, but we'll take a short break. When we come back, we will be reading comments and taking your phone call. If you want to know the phone number, look in the scrolling text below. We will display it on the screen momentarily. A short break. Don't go anywhere. We want to hear from you. I've had my say. I've done my analysis. I've done my reporting. What have you to say? Is our president a feminist-in-chief or a feminist-in-cheat? That is the question you will be answering in 1 minute when you have the opportunity to speak. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Folks, we are back with you here, and we are all set to take your phone calls. While we wait for the calls, we will read a few comments here quickly. We will read a few comments. The comments we see here, we will read them quickly. This one is from Franklin LB Benizi. I hope I got that right. Good evening, focus on Liberia FM. I'm watching from Logantown, Boucher Island, Monrovia, Liberia. Thanks for joining us there. This one is from Captain Harris. Good evening from my end to you, Uncle Anson Sear. Thank you, Dad. This one is from George Freeman. Following it already, he said, Josh, my favorite vibe music. Okay, he said he likes that music. Like, yeah, from Johnson here. That is the Visha L. Johnson. I hope I got that right. Good afternoon from Texas, by the way of Ghana. I don't know. Again, why hasn't he sacked those recently accused of rape in Korea? That's the question that person is asking. Good afternoon, Mr. C, my favorite on FOL. Thank you that I am your favorite. Let's hear from Francis C. Wilson. Rape cases are down to 3 and 6 years old babies. That is correct. That is correct. Yeah, from Mary Yadia Gia. What does George Weah show up to? He was elected to encourage bad habits in Liberia, including theft, corruption, bribery, etc., etc. Then you have from Amara scientist Chroma. Wow, Feminist-In-Cheat. Let me go ask Google for this word. Yeah, go and figure it out. Google may not be able to help you. Mormon Harris, do we have concrete evidence about this allegation against the foreign minister? Are you talking about concrete evidence? The young lady who accused him is still around today. She penned a letter or a communication, in which she narrated her ordeal. So if you ask him for evidence, she can prove it, she said, and she has narrated her story. It is left with the government now to investigate and see who is telling the truth. Let's hear from Sickle, right? This is sad for our country. Rape cases are on the increase, and a man who represents us is accused of rape, but our leadership is yet to do something about it. Let's hear from B. Hayes here. Spunto raised 10,000 for that case. Thank you. That gentleman was going on around begging the president, asking the vice president. Kimaya could not give him answer, and so Liberians have to raise money to help this man out. Let's hear from Evangelina. Where were any of these guys married? If so, why cheat on their wives? Yeah, my understanding is that Moses, the head of the mission there, is married. That's what I heard. It might be true. Let's hear from Evangeline again. Is their irresponsible or cheating behavior? It is their irresponsible cheating behavior that got them into that problem, and I have no empathy for them. Okay, she's saying it is their irresponsible and cheating behavior that got them into that problem, and she has zero empathy for them. She writes, let's get more comments here. Evangeline is busy. Let's get the one from Mangra A. Mapu Dawson. These guys have no respect for anything in a dress or diaper, neither one who shares their DNA. They will rip and destroy the evidence if need be, she writes. Let's hear from the man Dennis Koti. He's a tier 1 guy. When you mean too much, you will mean yourself in the end. That one is philosophical. What do you mean, my man? Francis C. Wilson again. He is not a feminist, period. He has no concept of what the word even means. So just leave it, and I will leave it, Francis. Let's hear from Samantha Thomas. See, when it comes to me, it is how take your time to write it. See, when it comes to me, it is how we're doing the trade. Anyway, I will leave that one. Samantha, you might want to post your comments again. I think you were rushing that, and so you have a little mistake right there. So you might want to post that comment again. We will be going to the phone lines here quickly. Let me see if we have a caller or we have callers that are waiting, and we'll take them, or not one yet. So what we wait for the callers, I will take a short break and I will bring you latest developments in Liberia. We will bring you the latest developments, stories making headlines in the nation Liberia. A short break. We will be right back. All right, talking about latest Liberian news headlines. This one is Liberia. Lagos announces October 24th to November 7th as new census date. As you may be aware, for some of you who don't know, census by virtue of a constitutional mandate should be conducted in Liberia every 10 years. The first time we did one after the war was 2008. I participated in that one as an enumerator. As we speak, there has not been any census 10 years after 2008. There has not been any census. So the census should have been conducted in 2018. Today we are talking about 2022. Basically, how many years now? 4 years. So the census has been delayed for 4 years. And so now Lagos is saying October 24th to November 7th, the census will be conducted this time. This is not the first time Lagos is announcing census dates. Census has been announced over 4 or 5 times, and census has not been conducted for so many reasons, including corruption, people stealing the money, and people are not up to the task. We hope that they will be able to get it done this time. And sadly, the date of the census for the date of this census, these dates actually fall within the very time we will be having election. So I don't know how this is going to be possible. So we'll be voting, and at the same time, census will be going on. Well, election is just one day issue in Liberia, the way we conduct our elections, right? So maybe it's doable, but again, that is for you there. So also Liberia national election uncertain of sanctions official participation in 2023 election. So we're talking about Magay Betwawe here, who are facing sanctions. That include Prince Johnson. I don't know if he's up for re-election this particular coming election. I would think so. So the National Election Commission is not sure whether or not these people will run, or issue grant them permission, or to run, because people are saying these people should not be allowed to contest because they have been sanctioned. A sanction, an indictment, is a different, similar. So there's a debate there. It's like the National Election Commission at this point does not know what it will have to do. And this is a legal issue, so that is what's going on right now. Liberia, U.S. Secretary of State invite Minister Kimanya for conference on Feed the Future initiative. So our foreign minister, who is accused of rape and being maintained by the president, has now been invited by U.S. Secretary of State to attend a conference to Feed the Future initiative. There's a conference that the U.S. put together called Feed the Future initiative. They're trying to feed people who will become future leaders. And what the U.S. has done is dedicated or set aside billions of dollars. In September, I think Joe Biden announced about $2.9 billion that has been set aside, and Liberia has been added to the list of countries they want to put on that program to give some money. So Kimanya, the guy accused of rape, maintained by President Weah, will be representing Liberia. How does that feel? Will the women of Liberia appreciate President Weah for maintaining somebody accused of significant rape to represent Liberia? Because when that person is representing Liberia, that person is also representing the women of Liberia. And that decision has been made by the Feminist-In-Chief, the guy who said he is for the woman. And this is what I come in. I'm not sure he is a Feminist-In-Chief. He is a Feminist-In-Cheat. All right. In more news in Liberia, additional financing to improve healthcare services in Liberia. So the World Bank has approved 31 million United States dollars for Liberia. Again, the World Bank has approved additional 31 million United States dollars for Liberia. Of that 31, 20 million is loan. It's loan. Liberia has to pay back the 20 million given or approved by the World Bank, and 11 million is grant, money that we don't have to pay back. So again, our country relies on handouts from international, financial institutions and donor nations to survive. So Liberia got free money, 11 million, and a loan of 20 million, and their money is squarely and specifically for the health sector. Folks, here's the deal. The Ministry of Health has been engulfed with corruption from top to bottom everywhere. We had Talamran Kuyonkwa here, who was able to explain to us the significant and widespread corruption that is taking place at the Ministry of Health. From the minister down to directors, they are all involved in corruption. And now the World Bank is giving loan of 20 million to improve the healthcare delivery sector or healthcare delivery services in Liberia. With the money, the loan money, the 20 million being used for the intended purpose, your children and my grandchildren will have to pay that money, but it's not free money. But chances are that, as it has been the case, a good portion of the money will end up in the pockets of corrupt officials, and then the Feminist-In-Chief will not be able to take action boldly and swiftly against these individuals. And talking about the $11 million are being given, that is a grant. If they can steal and some full money that we have to pay back, money generated in taxes, the sweat and blood of the Liberian people, if they can steal it, how much more money coming from Westerners who are giving us free money, $11 million. Say, well, the free money the people give us, so they might take it free. So, folks, these are the latest developments in Liberia, and we talk to bring that for you to know what is obtaining in the homeland. And also, the final story here is chaos continues when it comes to the availability of rice on the Liberian market. Liberian women, Liberian men, and Liberian children are still struggling to get our staple on the market. The government continues to say there is significant amount of rice in the country in warehouses, but we are yet to see that, and the story continues even today. And now what's happening is those who are selling rice in different stores, when you go to buy rice, they are even trying to compare you to buy other items before they can even sell the rice to you. So in the homeland is now pretty, we Liberian people, our rice business is big, but this is what our people are dealing with right now when it comes to the issue of rice in Liberia. So folks, that will do it. We don't have a caller yet, so we will read a few more comments if we do, and we will be closing. Let me see if Samantha, did you rewrite your comments so that we can read it? Let's see. This is a long one from Samantha. Thank you for the effort. We'd appreciate that. She writes, I believe this to be true. The reason is I was born missionary. I do not have a part in the middle school boarding pull down. It's the right side, and I read everything for the left side. I don't know, Samantha, what you are trying to say here. I will leave it there for now. Let me read the one from Samantha. I was only going to send them $50, but she made me mad for some 200. Samantha, you are saying something different here. Samantha, again, I said couple of transfer, like 3, maybe 4. This might be something different she's talking about. Folks, that's what I have for you. Let me see my buddy here, Jenkins. I'm watching from Liberia. He's always watching. We appreciate you. Evangeline Tai, again, they have done this to someone in the past, And that's why God is punishing them now. She is not stopping with her comments. Well, folks, that will do it here at the Hour of Politics. I will take a short break and I will bring you my closing. Stay tuned. And so, folks, this is how I will come to the end of another edition of the Hour of Politics. And this will be my closing. Liberia is headed by a president called George Weah. He rose from nothingness to stardom. His story gives hope to millions, especially the downtrodden in our land. He is such an impressive story from despair to glory. He inspires so much hope. His life story is something that anybody can relate to, not only Liberians, but from people from all walks of life. And so I have never and ever doubted the possibility of Weah's presidency. In fact, I remain on record to my friends that I don't doubt that President Weah can be elected because his story is a story of hope. His story is a story of possibility. Many Liberians are poor. Liberians rely on nothing more than hope. I was in Liberia, hungry, jobless, on a chocobo. I have nothing. And so do many of you when you were in Liberia, when you were in refugee camps, you had nothing. Nothing materially. Nothing significant. But you had one thing, and that thing was hope. And hope is something we can all connect to through the life stories of those who had nothing and will come to be something. And so the story of George Weah was every Liberian who was in despair, who was in a state of nothingness, who was a downtrodden, who was engulfed, and who was being crushed by poverty. That story of Weah, from nothingness to stardom, to popularity, to becoming an icon, to becoming a celebrated star, to becoming a United Nations Goodwill ambassador. Oh, what a profound story. And every child today in Liberia who is facing this reality today has nothing but hope. And when you contrast that with people who were better and came to power and had the opportunity to serve, and the fact that whether they intentionally definitely let the people of Liberia down, especially the young people, the suffering people, and they have seen they educated and they come to serve And they won't be able to give them roles. They won't be able to provide better education for them. And won't be able to create a healthcare system that will be there for them. And their mothers are dying during delivery. And when they have concluded that they have had the best educated people to serve them, and yet their situation has not changed, they were left with one thing: hope that one day it will get better. And when we are enter the race of the presidency, they got connected to him, for his story was their story. His kind was them. And so they decided to make a statement that we will elect our own. For you, the educated, they argue, did not do for us what we have always desired: a prosperous nation with a better educational system, a better healthcare delivery system with roads and running water. We want better life, and you have not given it to us. We are bringing our own this time. He got elected. That hope was transformed into a message and a slogan of change for hope, or hope for change. But on the subject of rape, he proud and claim and profess to be a feminist-in-chief, meaning he will hold accountable squarely those who will be accused and guilty of the act of rape, and victims will be taken care of when they get victimized by perpetrators of rape. And Nathaniel's daughter was raped at an embassy he has presidential supervisory power over. And that gentleman was crying for help. The foreign minister he appointed could not do anything. The vice president he chose could not do anything about that daughter of that man. And she was in agony. At a certain point, she was bleeding profusely. She needed urgent medical care. And the leader was dragging his feet. His government officials were dragging their feet, and he did not hold them accountable. He would not stop there, and he would appoint a minister of foreign affairs being accused of significant act of rape. He has not gotten to the bottom of this allegation. And this is his confidant, who he goes with everywhere. A slap in the faces of our women and girls. He professed to be representing as a feminist-in-chief, folks. And so, folks, where is the hope? Where is the fight against sexual and gender-based violence? What is the fight against rape? Where is the chief prosecutor? He announced he was appointed and installed to fast-track rape cases in Liberia. Where is the National Sex Registry? Where is it? Where is the declaration of rape as an emergency in our country when these things are happening and the president takes no action, folks? And where is the action that his government going to work assiduously with legislators to pass laws to hold these accountable? When all of these things, folks, are not just lip service, when they are not deceit, when all of these things don't only show that this president is not the feminist-in-chief he claims to be, and that he is definitely a feminist-in-cheat, then I don't know where you're looking. For if you are looking where I'm looking, I will conclude with my closing to say, indeed, our president is a feminist-in-cheat, cheating. The women of Liberia, when it comes to accountability, when it comes to holding perpetrators accountable, when it comes to holding people he appointed in positions of trust and power, when he is not cheating the victims of accountability and shielding these officials, if he is not a feminist-in-cheat, if your argument is he is a feminist-in-chief, then I don't want to be a chief anymore. Then the word chief has no meanings, let alone the word feminist. That is my closing. That is how I will close the hour of politics today. Until I catch you again, my name is Anthony Sear, and I do not apologize for what I say today. And so, folks, I will take leave of you now. I may have a cartoon to put, and I will think about that cartoon now. And so, folks, that's it. That's the edition. That's your closing. And we'll bring you your favorite song that says, "We are all Liberians, those who are victims of rape and sexual and gender-based violence. They are Liberians, and the Liberian president should act if he is the feminist-in-chief. But will he? Of course not, because he is a feminist-in-cheat." And so the song, "We are all Liberians," and bye-bye.
We are Liberians.